This is part 3 of my 3-part series on the late Chris Cornell. Here's a question. Do you think that there is a Seattle rock stars, first wives club? Some of you have strongly hinted that there is a first wives club. So this conclusion to the Chris Cornell series is about lies, legacy, lawsuits, and denial. Welcome to the Radioactive Patient, a music, art, and mental health mashup. I'm Allison Strong. So Chris Cornell bottomed out during the end of his time with Audioslave, mostly opiates and meth. The guys in Audioslave really wanted to help Chris Cornell, so they called Rob Timmons, who had worked with Aerosmith and a couple of other rock stars. They staged an intervention, and off Chris went to Passages in Malibu, which is kind of a pricey rehab that also deals with mental health conditions. And I'm telling you, Chris really wanted to get well. When his 30 days were up, he ponied up for another 30, so he stayed there for 60 days, maybe even more. In the end, however, Chris did leave Audioslave, and he's done a lot of interviews. You can see those on YouTube, and I'll link some of those below, where he's interviewed, and when the question of depression comes up, he gets really heartless, and he says things like, carpenters and doctors have depression, but you never hear about them because they're not famous. He hated that rock star druggy trope, and he fought against it. And that might be why there is no information on his mental health. In 2017, Soundgarden reunites and embarks on an 18-date tour. This is where we run into trouble. Chris Cornell's last live performance was in Detroit, Michigan, and in the middle of the night, actually the early morning, he was found dead of an apparent suicide. He actually hung himself and had an exercise band around his neck, and he'd bled a bit, which led to some conspiracy theories about him being murdered. This day, Chris's widow insists that her late husband was not depressed when he killed himself. Nope, Vicky Cornell is sure that Chris's suicide was due to a prescription of Ativan that he got to help him sleep and to take the edge off his anxiety, and she sued the doctor who wrote it. And Vicky Cornell has also fought with Soundgarden and Audioslave over royalties and has threatened lawsuits against people who want to go on record and talk about Chris Cornell's mental health and state of mind. Here's an interesting twist. Chris Cornell's daughter from his first marriage, Lily Cornell, has a mental health series that you can see on YouTube called Mind Wide Open, where she interviews other Seattle luminaries and mental health experts. You can see that Lily Cornell, his daughter, is leaving behind a very different legacy than his widow, Vicky Cornell, is. I don't know, let me go out on a limb here because I'm what they call dual diagnosis. I have a mental health challenge and a past history of substance abuse. Because I was fortunate, I was able to go to psychiatric hospitals and rehab several times. And there was an expectation, right, that I'd be well forever, for the rest of my life. Now, part of this is due to the rehab industry telling you that if you just do your 30 days and go to AA and get a sponsor and do everything they say, it's a forever fix. It is not. Shit happens. Like, for example, I was on Prozac for 8 years, and then one day it was like a light switch. I woke up and boom, I was in the black. So bad. It was like death was inviting me to the cool kids party. I had this going on, really bad depression for 3 years, and eventually I got tired of dealing with everyone's disappointment in me, like it was my fault. People forget that depression is a no-fault illness. They're in denial when we relapse because it's very frightening for them. So I believe that there's denial. People are lying to themselves, namely Chris's widow, and I don't think we're ever going to find out what happened to Chris Cornell, but we can learn from every curveball that life throws us. Every painful situation is an opportunity for growth, even though it really sucks. That's why we need each other. We need creativity, expression. I, for one, really need my music. Allison Strong, and that's it for part 3 of the series on Chris Cornell. This has been Lies, Lawsuits, and Legacy. And until next time around, be good to yourself. And please, write me a novel, write comments in the comments section below. I love reading those. And until next time around, ciao for now.